Hey guys, it's Chloe. Welcome back, or welcome to my channel. Right now I'm in Arizona for a fun off-road adventure in my Tacoma, and this adventure is going to be extra fun because I just put brand new rock sliders on my truck. So in today's video, I'm going to show you guys exactly where I got these rock sliders from, how to install them, and why I even got them in the first place. I'm going to be hitting up some pretty cool places here in Arizona, and actually not only is it the first time of me off-roading with these sliders on, but it's also the first time me off-roading with my new rear Fox suspension on. So if you guys are interested in seeing how they perform off-road, feel free to subscribe. But without further ado, let's get into the install video. So guys, these are bolt-on rock sliders from a company called FabZone Armor, which is located here in San Diego. Now they feature a kick-out design and also double as a side step, which is really cool. And they're made out of DOM steel tubing, and they each weigh about 64 pounds. I have a previous video where I talk about why I've been wanting rock sliders and why I disliked my Nerf steps and took them off, which I'll link down below. But basically, rock sliders are superior to Nerf steps in the sense that they provide a lot more body protection and can double as good pivot points when you're going through tight terrain. I decided to go with FabZone because a lot of you guys actually recommended them to me, and also they were local to me. And if you're looking for rock sliders, I suggest you do the same, since shipping steel sliders is really expensive and can take a long time, and picking up local isn't bad, especially if you have a truck. These were just their standard bolt-on ones for a 3rd gen double cab short bed Tacoma, but I'm pretty sure FabZone can do custom stuff. The way to contact them is through Instagram, and I'll leave their handle down below. So when you guys are installing these, it's best to look at instructions from the manufacturer, but I didn't have those, so I ended up just removing the OEM bolts to help get some of these back plates in place. The first thing I'm doing here is putting some safety wire through the nut on this back plate so I don't lose it while it's loose in the frame before I bolt the sliders on. But in hindsight, I probably could have done without it. But anyways, this back plate goes into the hole on the angle part of the frame. And then I'm removing this bracket that holds the brake lines from the frame temporarily so that I can remove this plastic piece to help me fit another back plate into the frame, as you'll see. I also had to remove 2 nuts on the outside of the frame that were holding a bracket with electronics mounted for some more room. What I love about these FabZone sliders is that there's no additional drilling into the frame required, which is really nice. The whole process is honestly pretty easy in theory. It's just removing the bolts and replacing them, but as you'll see soon, the hardest part is just lifting these sliders and aligning them onto the truck because they are pretty heavy. The next thing is a really annoying part. There's these 2 plastic clips that you need to remove, and I just used a flathead, as you can see, but I broke this one, but it really doesn't matter since you won't be putting them back on. Removing the 2 plastic pieces will expose nuts on the back plate that you just slid into the frame. The last bolt I'm going to remove for now is this one at the bottom of the frame. Okay, this next part is probably the hardest part of the whole install, and that's just getting the sliders mounted and aligned onto your frame so that you can get all of the bolts in. And as you can see, I had to enlist the help of my neighbor because these aren't just heavy, but they were also just long and honestly were too difficult for me to handle alone. I was documenting all of my struggles on my Instagram stories in real time, and so many of you guys were messaging me about how difficult of a time you guys had too and how easy it is with another person. So I'd highly recommend asking someone just for a hand, just for the sake of time. Yes, you could do this by yourself by maneuvering your knees or legs to hold them up along with some jack stands, but I knew I was going to hurt myself doing that, which is why I got my neighbor to hold them up to the frame for me. The last thing to do is pretty easy. I'm just using the bolts that FabZone gave me, and I'm bolting the slider in place using the back plates I put in earlier. In addition to the one we slid into the angled part of the frame and the long one we slid into the side of the frame, there's a U-shaped clamp and a back plate that we need to mount as well. To mount this U-shaped clamp, I used a woodworking clamp just to push the slider into the frame so that it would fit. On my truck, there's also one more bolt to put right near the bracket, holding the electronics in too. The very last thing you want to do is tighten down all the bolts and torque them down to spec. Now I used the bolt size to figure out what I needed to torque the 1/2-inch coarse thread grade 8 bolt to, which was 80 foot-pounds. And I got all of this information on boltdepot.com. Here's a closer look at the driver's side completely installed. Now these sliders do stick out quite a bit and they don't come at a very high upward angle, so they're not low profile, but they do add a lot of protection and can also double as a step. I like how the tubing also kind of angles out slowly towards the kickout, and it's not a super aggressive kickout, but that's just my personal stylistic preference. So now getting onto the passenger side install, it's actually easier than the driver's side because there aren't any brake lines, and if you did the driver's side first, it's basically the exact same process. So I'm not going to talk step by step and bore you guys with that, just because I'm going to be doing pretty much the exact same thing. I do want to give you guys some more information on these exact sliders in this company if you're interested. Like I said before, they are local to San Diego. I don't believe they have shipping available, but you can contact them yourself just if you're curious. I was specifically quoted $675 for these sliders raw for my Tacoma. For a double cab long bed, they told me it would be an extra $100. If I wanted top plates, it would be an extra $200. And if I wanted powder coat, it would be another extra $200. So I bought them for $675, no powder coat, just raw, because I was told by them that the powder coat by them would take an extra 2 to 3 weeks, and I knew a shop that could get it done faster, and I wanted them powder coated in time before I went to Arizona. So they took about 7 to 10 days to weld everything together. When I picked them up, I was super impressed. I'm sure you guys saw the weld on them. They're super professional. One reason to leave them raw besides the cost of the powder coat is to show off the quality of the welds, but I wanted the powder coat for the appearance and to prevent rust. Now, while rock sliders aren't necessarily a cheap mod or necessarily an easy mod, one of the most vulnerable areas when you go off-roading is your frame, especially if you don't have a lifted truck like me. So investing in a set of rock sliders can really save you, and in general, even if you don't plan on using them as pivot points or stabilizer points, they do stick out far enough to protect your body panels a little bit from rocks and stuff flying up. And also, I feel like it goes without saying, but they can also protect you in the parking lot from when people open doors and are about to hit the body panels on your truck. If you guys are watching this video near its release date, I just want to wish you guys a happy New Year's. One of the best things about 2020 was getting to build my truck here on YouTube and document it for you guys, and as a byproduct of that, I got to work with some awesome companies, but better yet, connect with so many of you guys and get advice from so many of you about my truck. I even got to meet some of you guys in person, which were definitely highlights of my year, so I just wanted to say thanks for being part of this awesome little community, and I can't wait to see what 2021 brings for us in the channel. So these are the finished sliders. Again, I'm really happy with the way they turned out, and I can't wait to go off-road in them. Again, Happy New Year's, and I hope you stay tuned for the next couple videos because I have more mods and off-road videos coming up for you guys shortly. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.